talking Husker football. Really excited to be here with you guys and be back. Hope to get a lot of fun out of the way today and moving forward throughout the season. Hopefully,
we got a game next week.
We got a game next week, so that's going to be exciting. So going to have a lot of fun here today. Hopefully you join us. If not, you can always check us out another time. So
listen to the podcast, whatever.
All right, so we're here to talk to you about Husker football.
Yes.
So Jimmy, what's been going on in the off season?
A lot of stuff that some of which I don't really want to touch on. We talked about it a little bit. The investigation, just it is what it is. It's stupid. It's going on everywhere, so it's not even worth talking about. Conference realignment.
Yep.
Texas, Oklahoma joining, SEC.
Yep.
Big Ten, Pac-12, ACC alliance starting to form. Don't know much about that yet, but probably will here pretty soon. And honestly, just trying not to drink the Kool-Aid and get overhyped for Husker season. So
It's false, because I've drank a lot of Kool-Aid.
I typically do. So
As a diabetic, drinking a lot of Kool-Aid is not a good idea.
No, probably not.
So I made sure to get all my insulin on board, and I'm good to
There you
go. No, very excited. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. The whole conference realignment stuff with the SEC. That was kind of a big distraction. Really just a big distraction across college football landscape.
Well, I mean, during a dead period, typically, leading up to the season, the summers. If you listen to sports talk radio like I do, the summer's normally a pretty boring time to listen to it.
Yeah.
So to hear something like that was a little bit shocking.
Yeah.
Maybe not shocking because something like that was probably eventually going to happen, but and especially when it comes to Texas, they're always going to do something to piss people off. So.
Oh yeah, and then it was funny because Texas, Oklahoma, we all know Texas. We've been there. We've been a part of that whole cluster.
Basically why Nebraska left the Big 12.
Yeah, so not really too surprised about that. But it's Oklahoma's not going to be. Oklahoma without Texas is a little interesting to think about. I guess I'm not too surprised about it.
It does make things interesting as far as where some of those other schools go, unless they bring schools in.
Yeah.
Seems more like ESPN, has the AAC contract, and that some of those Big 12 schools might be looking to go to that conference. Who knows?
Yeah.
Even though they're not a Power 5 and the Big 12 is a Power 5, they were a Power 5 because of Oklahoma and Texas, so seems to make sense. But no, we were talking about a little bit. Some of those schools would be interesting to see. Some of those schools that have more success right now, who wants to grab them?
Yeah.
If that's the thing, like Iowa State or Oklahoma State. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. So Blake said you got your volume all the way up, still can't hear us. Everyone else, can you hear us?
Seriously?
We got a mic here that we're trying out, so hopefully everyone else can hear us.
Ryan, it's not Bush Latte today. I'm going your style.
Yeah, Make Ultra.
With the Make Ultra.
Is the volume up on your phone?
I can definitely double check it.
Okay.
I typically put my phone on silent so that it doesn't ring. But let me check real quick.
Okay. We'll double check the volume real quick, see if make sure we're getting what we need here.
Yeah, my volume's all the way up.
Okay. Anyone else listening, if you could let us know if you can't hear us.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So we have.
Maybe check your own volume. No, I'm just kidding.
He says volume's all the way up, so we'll see what we can do here, Blake. So as far as the conference realignment stuff, so that came out with Texas, Oklahoma, and then now there's more discussion about a potential alliance between other conferences such as the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and ACC.
Right.
So that's another interesting topic because we're changing. I mean, there's been changes. There's been conference realignment. There's been schools going to other conferences like
Nebraska going to the Big Ten.
We've seen that happen before, but we're on a whole different level of potential realignment here that is really going to change the college football landscape
and potentially get rid of the NCAA.
Which ultimately, if that's the ultimate goal, I think that could be a good thing.
It will be.
I think the NCAA has screwed up a lot of things more recently. You got the investigation with Baylor, where there was seems like there was a lot of evidence out there, and nothing really happened.
But they want to come after us.
But they want to go after Nebraska and even Michigan for the improper use of analysts. I think it sounds like the offsite practice is not something that they're really being investigated about, but again,
how can you monitor
yeah.
guys working out outside of the stadium during a pandemic?
Yeah. Oh, and
they have to work out somewhere.
Well,
they have to do something.
And it's not like the NCAA showed up and said, "Hey, we're going to videotape your practice."
Somebody videotaped.
That's not what was happening. That's an inside job. And what's really funny is people on Twitter are like, "Who is he? Let's find him and let's beat the crap out of him." Like, and you got to wonder. We had who was the two analysts? One that got fired, and another one. One got fired, one left, whatever. But we lost two analysts recently. But who was videotaping it? Who was sent off to the NCAA? Because the NCAA is not doing their own investigation.
Well, there's a reason that those guys left, and how that job just sounds interesting to me. Can I get that job?
Well, it sounds like the analyst was working with our special teams, which
sucked. So it didn't matter anyway. Aside from our kicker, who was Big Ten kicker.
Yeah. Well, and my question was, what kind of advantage does having an analyst on the field give a team during practice or even during a game? Like, what kind of advantage does that give? I don't think that gives a team an advantage. So it's
no, because at least when I played sports, I needed a coach to get in my face and talk to me about things, not somebody analyze me and then write me up a spreadsheet or something and send it to me.
Well, I think Donnie mentioned it's a witch hunt. I think it would be a witch hunt. Tim's got a question here for you. Kelly says hi.
Oh,
Jimmy,
I'm sure he
wants to know what the subject is. Tim, you know that answer. It's anything but Notre Dame football. No, I think I think it'll end up just being nothing. If nothing, we get a fine. I mean, there's no way.
Good, you can hear us.
There's nothing else that I could see coming from this. So after Wednesday, Thursday, it kind of dropped off where a lot of the social media talk went away. You're still going to have the local media. You're going to have Sam and Sherman and all these other guys out there still hitting the pavement. They're still talking about the Oklahoma game. Let it go. Like, stop listening to your local media guys. Most of them are shit. And all they want to do is just bash on the Huskers. So they really find a lot of crap to sit on and keep pushing rather than let's focus on what's going to happen.
There's been a few that have said, this is going to be figured out down the road a year from now, probably during the off season, and it'll be a slap on the wrist, whatever. Hopefully.
Good question here from Blake. So focusing on the football team in general, how hot is the seat for Frost? So if you guys are on social media at all and listen to what's going on,
then Frost should be gone.
Well, and this whole investigation is a way to get Frost fired without having to pay a big buyout. I don't know. I'm not an insider. I don't have connections. We had someone tell us that potentially Frost was going to be fired within 2 weeks after Trev came on. I don't see those kind of things happening yet. I think this year is the year he needs to show it. I think it's hot. And yes, we know Trev Alberts is not afraid to get the job done. He did it at UNO.
UNO is much better for it.
We'll talk about Trev here in a second. But I think Trev's not afraid to do it. I think they brought him in. Part of the reason why he was hired is because he's not afraid to make those hard decisions and do what needs to get done. Because he's been in that position when he was a new AD and he had to do a very unpopular thing with UNO.
And he got rid of their football program and their wrestling program after they won a national championship or whatever it was. Yep. But he turned them Division I. Have you seen their new baseball field? It's amazing.
Yep. But there's a lot of good with Trev. But I do think there's smoke under Scott's butt right now. Well, I don't think we see any fire yet, but I think it's hot. I think it's hot. I think it's smoking. I think he's getting a little uncomfortable and knows that he's got to show up this year.
It's a tricky situation, too, because you got new AD, and you have one of the toughest schedules in college football this season, which we'll dive into. But,
yep.
I mean, especially after a COVID year, I mean, Trev could make us, like you said, he could mix things up, but I see him through at least next year. And I feel that way because I think the football team will be better this year.
So. I think we have to get 6 wins this year.
For sure.
If we only win 5 games, Frost could be gone after this year.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about that. As much as I think this, but again, I doubt that's going to happen. I see 6. My prediction earlier on was 8-4, but at worst, I think we do 7-5 this year. Is my prediction. So 6 or 7 wins keeps him on for another year. That next year, though, 2022 football season, he's got to get to 8 wins. 8 or 9 wins that year, I think, has to happen. Otherwise, he might not continue to be our coach after that year. So he's in year 4. He's had, technically, after talking to Tom Osborne, he brought up a good point, is he's really only, 2.5 years into full cycle recruiting, maybe 3 years. And so now he's got his guys. And if you look at the type of guys he's recruited, we talked about this one of our last shows. The type of guys he's recruiting are tall. The wide receivers, he's looking after tall wide receivers that go up for balls. He's looking after tight ends that are tall. He's learning that what he thought was going to work in the Big Ten is not going to work in the Big Ten. Yeah. Because he thought UFC offense was going to work, or UCF offense was going to work. It hasn't, and so now he's looking at a different type of offense, and I think that is something that's going to help him in the long run. Hopefully it's a long run, but it's definitely this year. Thanks, Tim. We're glad we're back, too. If he doesn't make his bowl, Dom says it doesn't make his bowl game, in his opinion, he should be gone. Again, I agree. I think, again, he came in as that savior.
That's an actually very well-stated comment there, Zom, because we are kind of accepting him more because he's a former player and a national championship quarterback.
He would have been fired already.
If this was, another Mike Riley, we'd be like, this guy needs to be gone now. But it's Frost.
Yeah.
And we love Frost.
And I think I think you got to give him that cushion. But in last year's kind of a crap year. So even though, yes, other teams did better, but other teams also had full cycle recruiting, guys that are juniors, seniors, older guys. So I'll give him that cushion, but again, this year it's got to be a bowl game. We got to do 6 wins.
The problem was, Frost went undefeated at UCF, and then they beat Auburn in their bowl game, and they claimed a national championship. And we had high expectations with him coming in.
Yep.
And it just has not panned out that way, and there's been a lot of, things pop up. NCAA investigation, the most recent, but just little things here and there. Players leaving, Mo Washington, Wandale Robinson, a lot of high recruits that have entered the transfer portal, and it's just like something's not right. But
if you look at, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Even as much as I crap on our Omaha coverage and sometimes the Lincoln coverage and talk to you, Sip.
I like Sip, but
I know I'm not a huge fan. But anyway, sometimes they do a really good job, because one thing they focused on this year and that they've hammered home is just the continuity amongst the team. The guys, not only the leadership, but the young guys that are stepping forward and being leaders on the team. The young guys hanging out with the older guys, and they're like, this is not something we've seen in the past few years, is the way these guys interact with one another.
And even Xavier Betts coming out and saying, I didn't have a good spring. I wasn't working hard or whatever it was, and now I'm stepping up, and they're saying that's showing.
Yeah.
The difference is showing. So things like that, I mean, it does seem like we're taking a step in the right direction.
Well, it sounds like they're holding themselves accountable. And and as a D1 player, if you're not holding yourself accountable, here's the thing with Riley. Not only was that staff not holding them accountable, but they weren't holding themselves accountable because they didn't have to. They can still just go out there and just flip-flop around and maybe show up to the weight room. Now they're being held.
Memorial Stadium's going to have 90,000 no matter what anyway.
Yeah. So I think Nick, I think he underestimated the Big Ten Conference. So he came into it cocky, absolutely. He said they're going to have to adjust to us. Well, now he's got to flip that bar and he's got to adjust to the Big Ten. And I think if you see our guys on the offensive and defensive lines, that adjustment's been made because they've had to do something in the offseason to say, okay, you're not the right size or what we're looking for, so
right.
What do we need to look at? And, God, have you seen our linemen lately?
Yeah.
They look like linemen.
Big Ten linemen.
They look like Big Ten linemen. Their arms are bigger. Their bodies are bigger. They're fast, too. They're not big, clunky guys that you might see in the SEC that can afford to do that, where you maybe have faster wide receivers and elite may not be the best, but you have really good quarterbacks, too, and running backs, where their main job is to block. Now, if we want to do more of a run-type style offense and passing, we got to have those guys that can get off the line, too.
Well, like Nick said here, the AAC, it's like the Big 12. I mean, they play in offensive style, a lot of points, try to get turnovers on defense, and that's kind of what we tried to do, and that obviously just doesn't work in the Big Ten.
Yep.
You need big boys, you need tall receivers, you need to be able to pound the rock too.
Yeah.
So.
And Dan, you're right. I mean, he's got to reinvent himself as a coach. If we don't, I agree. If he doesn't change his game plan and we don't change the way we do things with the offensive side of the ball, defense was better last year. We know that, and I think they're going to take another step up this year. We have a lot of guys that came back, which is good. So I think looking at that next level next year, what does that defense look like? Since we're going to lose some really good seniors, but if he doesn't reinvent the way he game plans, we might only have 5 wins. And you mentioned the Minnesota game last year; they had tons of guys out due to COVID, injuries. We were playing second and third string guys, and we still just got hammered. So change the way you plan, change the way you play, and prep for those games.
I mean, and looking forward to this upcoming week. I mean, we played Illinois last year. It was a black shirt jersey game, and we got embarrassed.
Yeah.
And I sure hope that they have them focused on changing that narrative from last year, because that was.
And part of that happened.
That was really bad.
Our first couple drives was McCaffrey's first start.
It was.
There's a lot of things that go into that, but there's still no excuse to the way we continue to play throughout the game. So, I think Frost is hot. I think his seat is smoking. I don't see the flames coming up yet, but you might see some little redness under there. But I really hope
we win this next weekend. Otherwise, that seat's going to be.
Well, you got to set the tone. Look at the last
That's
two
true.
the last 2 years starting the season. We had the rain out in his first year.
First game.
And then second year, what happened to that? Well, there was something weird that happened in the second year. We had to get postponed for some reason. Then year 3, we had COVID. I mean, there's all these things that impact, but getting a good start to the season is really going to help him and the rest of the team really set the tone for how they're going to go forward.
And it is. It's such an important game because it is a conference game, division game to start the season.
Yep.
You have to come out and win that game.
Start a conference with 1-0. We're going to be leading
we'll be in first
Big Ten West
on week 0.
On week 0. Hell yeah. Nick, good point again. Realizing that our defense is good, use them to win games. That's one thing that we've noted throughout the last couple of years is Frost always wants to do these fast-paced offenses, and then our defense is just, whether they play good or not, our defense, they don't do a lot of 3-and-outs. They don't. No. But what they're doing is they have been stopping the guys, especially last year. But when your offense only goes out there for 30 seconds on the clock or less, you're putting your defense in a tougher position to win games. When our defense, utilize them to help win those games, and then put your offense in a better situation where now we're going to be running the rock more. We have a heftier offensive line, and we should be able to get the ball downfield better to where we are giving our defensive guys that time to rest. So smarter play calling, absolutely, I can't agree more. And field position is huge. As Zom mentions, field position was awful last year. We were probably in the top 5 worst teams in the country as far as field position that we put our defense in.
Oh yeah, because our special teams was so bad.
So our special teams was bad. We couldn't field a punt return. or stop a punt return, either one.
Yeah.
So our special teams needs to be a huge improvement to help us out, which it sounds like they're seeing a lot of good things for our punter and our kicker, which is good. But we got to see that improvement, but our offense needs to get downfield.
We need a kicker that can kick the ball off into the end zone every single time.
And it sounds like we have that. From
So-
what I've been hearing is our kicker, and this was not our coaches, our media guys were saying, we got 2 guys that can kick the ball down into the end zone. We need that. We have not had that for 3 years.
No, we have not.
So I think that's going to be a huge advantage to our special teams too. So again, a guy like Cam Taylor-Britt came out early on or in the spring and said, hey, I will play any position you want to play. You want to play special teams, I'll play special teams. Put me on the field because I'm going to make a play.
Put him on the field the whole game.
We need more guys. I mean, like high school, you play offense and
Yes.
defense and special teams.
Yes.
We have guys that want to do that. If they have the ability to do that, they're going to fight harder than anybody else on that field. Let's get them. Let's get them going. Get them fighting. I've also heard a lot of good things about Caleb Tanner. Caleb Tanner is one of those guys. Him and Cam Taylor, because we kept getting them mixed up for so long. When they were freshmen, sophomore.
When they first came in. Yeah.
Caleb Tanner is one of those guys that we were looking forward to seeing him play more, and he really rocked on special teams last year. I think we're going to see more from him this year. Everything I've heard coming into the camp and leading up to the season opener is he's a guy to look out for. That could be one of those breakout. He got a breakout year.
Okay.
So I hope to see it on the defensive side of the ball. Let's see. So yeah, some good questions so far. Appreciate you guys throwing them in here. And Dan,
I'm actually a little surprised. I thought 1 o'clock on a Sunday that we wouldn't have much going on, but
no, this is
appreciate
great.
you guys tuning in.
Yeah, keep them coming. So I think next week Illinois season opener, and again we got to win it. We got to get that first one out of the way.
Yeah.
We looked at the Illinois. First, they got a new coach. So Bielema is coming in. It's his first year.
He was a good coach at Wisconsin. He was not nearly as good of a coach at Arkansas, but he did have a couple decent wins there. He knocked off LSU or Alabama 1 and 2.
Not Alabama.
Not Alabama.
But let's be real. Arkansas in the SEC is one of the bottom feeders anyways. They're never a top tier team. They're not going to get the recruits that LSU and Bama and some of those other teams are going to get.
And I don't know his background, so I'm not entirely sure, but I don't know why he didn't just stay at Wisconsin because they had something going there. But
money. Arkansas probably
and
more money.
That's true.
Guaranteed.
I mean, that is.
Well, and Arkansas needed to turn things around. They needed that help. They thought winning coach, let's bring them in. So, but here's what I see: Illinois is not Wisconsin. Illinois, though, their style of game fits closer to the AAC. They like to run high tempo, fast pace. They like to run the ball. They like to throw swing passes. They like to get a couple running backs. They want a quarterback that can run the ball.
And they've had decent running backs in the past, and quarterbacks that can run the ball.
They haven't scored less than 35 points on us since we started playing them over the last few years. So
that's pretty bad.
we averaged 39 points. So we're outscoring them, but we've been playing the same game that they've been playing. That fast-paced offense, you're getting on and off the field a lot faster, especially if you're not scoring, or you're scoring quick and getting off the field. So we looked at their roster. What we noticed is that their offensive line, they have experience. They don't have a lot of depth though. They have, and experience may not be the right word. I haven't looked at what their last year's depth chart was on the line, but their offensive line is older guys. So they have juniors and seniors, maybe one sophomore. But then you get to the quarterback and Brandon Peters, he's a grad transfer, so technically got a second year because of COVID.
It could be a 6-year.
So he's probably a 6-year guy. And then their running back is sophomore. So they're starting running back. So they have young guys back there. So the experience may not be there on the offensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball. I think
we're looked much at that, but their wide receivers looked pretty young.
Wide receivers, they got a couple freshmen as starting wide receivers, or redshirt freshmen, so they're in their second year. Again, their defense, they got some young guys, but they got some older guys too. You got a few seniors, they got a redshirt sophomore transfer, redshirt freshman, so a junior at safety, a senior. So they got some experience on the defensive side, but
they did beat us last year, so I mean we got definitely have to show up more than we did last year.
I mean, you can't talk crap about a team when they slapped you last year. So, I think Illinois again. Their seniors are gonna be
24 super seniors, huh?
Jeez. So, yeah, definitely don't sleep on their seniors because I think, again, that experience is going to be there. But you got a new coach. What's he trying to bring to the team? Is he trying to change things? Or is he trying to make small changes, just a little bit at a time, to get...
Well, that's always tricky because, you know, are they coming in and just trying to piece things together with the guys they have, or are they trying to bring young kids in and develop them and, you know, maybe you don't win right away, but you give them experience.
Well, and from their projected depth chart, it's 50-50. You got a lot of guys on that depth chart that are starting that are younger, but you got a lot of that guys in the second, third string guys that are younger as well. So they don't have a lot of depth with experience. They have depth, but it's young depth. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not gonna sleep on Illinois. I'm not gonna overlook Illinois as a fan just because of what happened last year.
Definitely not.
And because yes, I have a lot of hope for our team, and I think the hype is there. I drank a lot of Kool-Aid again, but we gotta see it. We still have to see it on the field in game.
Yeah.
If Adrian Martinez, he looks like his freshman size, and a lot of the guys, a lot of the stuff going around is he's faster than last year. Which last year he picked up some speed, but we got to see that offense really set the tone and play off the defense.
So that's a good question, Nick. I'm not sure.
So let me
I'm
look.
not sure who the running back was last year because
They have a redshirt sophomore transfer slated as their number 1, and then they have a grad transfer slated as their number 2, and the other guys are freshmen. They do have a senior, Mike Epstein, in the 4 spot, according to the ourlads.com, which is more of a projected, I think it's NFL type scouts. But Chase Brown is a redshirt sophomore transfer. And right now, he's in the 1 spot, and then Chase Hayden as their grad transfer.
I can't remember what their running back's name was last year, but he was good because obviously the game happened the way it did last year. So
it's not Peters. Peters isn't going to beat us. It's not going to be his running game. It's not going to be his feet. It's not going to be his arm. It's our front 4 need to be the guys, and our linebackers are going to have to control that game. I'm not worried about Brandon Peters. He's not a horrible quarterback, but he's not elite. He's not good. He's Smothers. I would compare him to probably Smothers or Heinrich Harburg. I think they're probably on the same talent level. But again, you can't sleep on him either because we know he's done stuff to us in the past. So we just have to be prepared for anything, and I think that game plan's got to be there.
And I think the bigger issue is the offense. We got to figure things out on offense. We can't turn the ball over. You know, we got new wide receivers, new running backs. I mean, it could either be really fun, which I think it will be, hoping that it will be, or it's going to be, you know, shoot, I don't know what's going on kind of a thing. But after the last couple of seasons where, and I know Dedrick Mills he ended up being, you know, pretty good. I actually liked him a lot, but we just didn't have very many guys step up, and running back or wide receiver, and we need guys to step up, and we have a lot of new guys, and I'm really hopeful that things will be a lot different than they have been.
But here's I think Zom was getting to this point is we got to stop the run. They can beat you.
That's true.
That is one thing we didn't make teams do last year is make the quarterback beat us. We didn't play. There's not a ton of good quarterbacks we played last year. This year's different, but we never made the quarterback beat us. We let them beat us with the run game, and then we didn't plan accordingly, and it was frustrating.
The year before, and I mean, I know that the Davis brothers both got drafted, and they were in the 6th, 7th round. But we actually were really decent on the run defense 2 years ago, and we didn't have that last year.
No.
We need guys like Ty Robinson.
I think Payne is going to bring the Payne this year. Daniels.
And I mean, JoJo Doman obviously is amazing, but you know, we need an overall group effort to stop the run game and make them beat us up.
Especially on those 3rd and 4, 3rd and 2s.
Yep.
We didn't get enough of that last year, so we got to step that up. Hopefully, our defensive line can get that push this year against lines that we should be able to get the push against. So I'm hopeful in our secondary, but again, that offense, Man, it's just got to be there. Again, if you watch any of the practices, any of the film they've released so far, and you see these downfield passes to Tour and to Manning, man, Omar Manning on the field. Let's talk about offense for a second. Getting Omar Manning on the field with Tour out there,
Yeah.
and then you got Alante Brown in the slot, and you got Xavier Betts,
And you got Austin Allen. I mean,
and Vokalek, and then if you look at our offense, you look at our size, and we talked about this last year, after the season this last year and coming up to this year, the size on our offense is there. And now, if we can get the ball to them, if Martinez can do a good job of throwing the ball to them, and then not only that, when we're not throwing to them, guess what? They got to be covered. So we got to have them out there on the field. That's when you open up the run game. But you have to start with the run game to open up the pass game downfield. And I think we do that with our size. And let's not Wyatt Lever. Let's not forget about him.
yeah.
He's a guy that's on the depth chart, potentially number 2 behind Omar Manning, and Betts right behind Samara Tour. So it's there. The talent is there. We know Tour can play. We know Manning can play. They've been there before.
Well, and can we give Morrison? Can we give Gabe Irvin, Marvin Scott,
Marky Step,
Yeah, I didn't even think of him. Yeah, and not only that, but
and Yant.
and not only that, but you know, and I've heard a lot of talk about this. Can we do a lot less designed Martinez run plays and only have him run when he needs to?
Yeah.
On a rollout where maybe he's going to throw deep and it's not there.
Yeah.
And then he gets us 8, 10, 12 yards or a first down on 3rd and 4 or whatever. Because we do not need to design our offense around runs for Martinez when we have as much talent as we have.
And I think with our offensive line, hopefully with the experience we saw last year getting better and better, and hopefully we have that this year where they've been better and better. And you have 5 guys that can run the ball in the backfield. You design less around Martinez because guess what? 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, who's running the ball? Martinez. The last 3 years.
And that's, I mean,
it didn't work. It worked freshman year. It's not working anymore, and we've seen it now.
Well, and it's not worked because everyone knows that that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
If we can give it to somebody else, or even have him roll out and have, you know, guys 4 or 5 guys available for him to throw the ball to, and that takes away defenders whether he gets the ball to him or can just get that first down.
And then you got the linemen that are able to pull outside and keep those blocks or make those blocks if he's got to run. So I am probably like the defense. Yes, we know what we've seen from the defense.
Right.
Love our defense, but I am more excited about our offense just because of what we bring to the table. Oliver Martin too. I haven't even mentioned him. Oliver Martin is one of those guys to look out for. We have the talent to be really, really good on offense. Really good on offense. I think I really want to see the I formation more than once this year.
Do we have fullbacks?
Between Gabe Irvin and Yant, those guys are big. They're big guys that can make blocks. I think, and again, even if you don't, you can do a triple option. Get the option. We have fast guys. I think we can be very successful.
Run a little option.
Yeah, again, exactly. We're thinking alike. Yeah, Yan is a fullback. I just said it. Look at that. Zara and I are thinking alike. So, he's a big guy. We saw it in the spring game. We've heard a lot about him, his size. He's a bulldozer. I think, and not only that, he's a bulldozer who's fast. So you could run an option, you could run a triple option. There's multiple things we could do with a running back and then place a guy at fullback. Step's a big guy too. He can run over guys. So
yeah, that's true.
I think we have to get, it was something we've been terrible about since Frost has been here, and even with Riley, is getting the ball in the running back's hands. We've had a lot of injuries as well throughout our running backs, but if they can stay healthy, we got to pound the rock. We pound the rock, that just changes your entire game and how successful you can be if you can run the ball. And we have not done a good job of running the ball because we've been focusing so much around, well, we haven't had a running back stay healthy, but we've been focused so much around giving it to Martinez, put it in his hands to run the ball.
And here's another.
And our offensive line hasn't been.
Here's another thing. In years past, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. I mean, you know that you're going to give the ball to your running back and you're going to get it. You know, Burkhead, Abdullah. You know, you can go down the list.
Even Mills and Zigbo.
Yeah.
Well, now
But,
it's not as much, but
these last couple of years, it was like, oh, we're gonna go shotgun, and Martinez is gonna run, and I'm so sick of that. I just want to give the ball to a running back that is gonna get a yard or two, instead of putting it in your quarterback's hands that he can get hurt, he can fumble the ball, and that's happened. And that's why everybody crucifies him. Like, we need guys that you can get under center and hand the ball off to and get the first down.
And now we have Gabe Urban, we have Marcus Stepp, we have Stephanie Morrison, we have Yant, we have guys.
And I'm not saying we're not going to run it out of the shotgun, because we probably will, but we need to have guys produce. That's not Adrian Martinez. Adrian Martinez will produce better if other guys can produce.
So, Booty, how big of a loss is Rondell? I don't know how Purdue's feeling about that, but
yeah, I guess.
Were you asking about him or Robinson? One, that's what I figured. So Rondell Moore is out of Purdue. I knew you were asking about Wandale. I don't think Wandale's a big loss, to be honest. I think
because we tried to use him too much in places that he wasn't. I mean, swing passes or handing the ball off to him.
He's a talented kid.
He was very talented, and we got a lot out of him, and I loved him.
Yeah, and I still think he'll have success in Kentucky, but I think the problem was we were trying to run that UCF offense, and he was a part of that.
And he was the main part of it.
He's not a part of. He's as good as he is. He's still not a guy like Alante Brown. He's not a Xavier Betts. He's not a Tour. He's not a guy that you can throw a ball up to go catch the ball. He's a slant guy. Or a quick out guy.
I know it's easy to say. I know it's easy to say because he left, and it's not sour grapes or anything like that. But you know, he was somebody that he could dart out, and you could get the ball to him, and if he sidestep somebody, he could go 80 yards. But that's just he was so small, really quick, and I loved him. But
we saw him chase down a lot. He got chased down,
and. Best of luck to him. Like I said, I loved him, but
well, just like Zab just said, him being 5'8", he's shorter than me. I mean, he wanted those bigger guys because again, he's realizing it took him a few years, but he realized that, or a couple of years, he needs guys that are tall.
He needs guys that are 6'2", 6'4".
Hey, I can throw the ball up in the end zone, the corner of the end zone, in the red zone, and you're going to catch the ball, or you're going to have a shot at it. And we didn't have that with our previous
and I'm sure Martinez is. Completion percentage will probably drop from last year because his percentage last year was like over 70% because he was throwing the ball like 3 yards here and then
or negative couple of yards and then yards.
And it's gonna go down because we're gonna be throwing the ball deeper this year. I certainly hope so anyway.
Yeah. I think 6'2" or taller for all of our receivers now. So I think that's gonna really change. If anybody's looking at the game and thinking that Frost is going to do the same thing he's been doing for the last few years, they're not paying attention to who's on the team and who's he's recruited and who he's brought in because he's changing on the go with the guys that we brought in and the guys that are now sophomore juniors that he did recruit that are going to now produce on the team. And so that's what Martinez is going to have as options downfield. And we've seen those downfield passes in a lot of the film that we've seen. And, I mean, Martinez is hitting them, and they're going up. Shit, I was watching one of those hype films the other day, and Wyatt Lever made some unbelievable catch.
It was unbelievable.
Against Cam Taylor, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Or it might have been Disco. But
it was one of the two.
Or Williams. I mean, all three of our good defenders there, but the offensive talent is there, and that's what gets me probably more hyped than anything else is because we know the defensive talent. We saw it last year. We're going to see some more competitive offenses this year than maybe we saw last year, but we're also going to hopefully see our offense be a little more competitive.
Well, and gosh, it's really hard because Martinez is going to be a senior, and he wants to be the guy, obviously.
Technically, he's a junior.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
He'd come back next year still.
That is true. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But, no, I really just hope we don't see, especially in that first game, first time we run into a little adversity in that game. I hope we don't see just like a design quarterback run, multiple times. Like, and I get it. He's a playmaker, and And you know what? Maybe he is quicker, and maybe it is for the best. But I feel like that's a crutch, and we should just stick to maybe not a crutch, but I know he can be really good running the ball. But I just want to see other plays made and not relying on that.
Yeah.
Because that's what we've relied on for the last few years, and it has not been in our best.
And I think we'll see that this year. I think we'll see more of the Adrian is going to be relied on when he has to. But
And when he has to, and when he does, I'm sure it'll be great.
he's not our main guy.
We don't need
he's
him.
not our main guy.
We don't need him running the ball 20 times a game.
And so I think predictions for defensive player of the year, offensive player of the year. I'm going to throw kind of a wrench in the defensive player of the year because obviously we have Cam Taylor, we got Dismuke, you got JoJo Doman. We have some really good guys that are going to be on the defense. I think Williams is going to be a guy that is targeted more just because of Cam Taylor on the defensive side of the ball. I think he is going to get targeted, and he was targeted more last year. So I think he's going to see more balls come his way because Cam Taylor's on the other side, and I think he's not underrated maybe on the Husker fan side, but everyone's so obsessed with Cam Taylor and his abilities that I think Williams is going to step out this year. And let's not forget about Farmer.
Yeah, hopefully he's healthy.
If he's ready to play, sounds like he's going to be ready to go. But he's not going to be starting over Williams.
Gosh, what's his name? Braxton?
Braxton Clark?
Yeah, Braxton Clark.
And we got Will Nixon.
He should be back because he was hurt last year too.
Yep. I think so. My defensive MVP, I'm going to go with Williams because I think Williams is going to be a guy again. I think he's going to see more action because of Cam Taylor on the other side of the ball. So it's
hard for me to not say JoJo Doman Zahn because he's my favorite, but
man, I mean, it's so hard because you still. I hope Garrett Nelson does what he did last year, halfway through the season, maybe a little bit more, when coaches said, we're not going to have you covered, do anything except for go to the ball. Run and get the damn ball. Because when he didn't just run and get the ball, he hesitated and missed a lot of tackles.
Yeah.
Once he started just going to the ball, it's like, holy crap, like, he's fast and he's getting right to the ball, he's making tackles. Another thing that we got to look out for this year, I think, is going to be Isaac Gifford. I've heard a lot of good things about him coming into the season.
And he was really good.
I think he's going to get some playing time.
He was really good when he got in last year.
So we'll see how that goes as well. Pola Gates, he's going to get some playing time.
Quentin Newsome.
And then Javin Wright, again, he's kind of third on that depth chart, outside linebacker, but I think we're going to see a lot of, we have guys that they get put in the game at any time. Braxton Clark, like you mentioned, and Tariq Johnson, let's not forget about him. He's a guy coming in as a redshirt junior transfer that he is, a lot of people are talking about him. His size, his speed, and what he can do. So Luke Reimer, another guy, is Luke going to be playing? Yeah, he's up there, yeah.
Yeah, no, so, he's the one I was thinking of.
So Luke, Luke was a surprise. Luke was a surprise last year. I didn't see him coming out playing as good as he did.
Oh, Reimer is going to be great.
I know he had that neck injury last year where it took him out, but...
Wow, they have Nick Heinrich is starting inside linebacker. Okay.
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
It's gonna be interesting to see how our defense does because we have so many guys that can come in and play. And that, to me, that's super exciting because we have depth.
As far as offense?
Offensive guys, you got some Artur. Let's see.
Gosh, it's just so hard to pinpoint because the offense is just completely different from from what it was last year. I mean, it was Martinez and Wandale and Dedrick Mills, and Mills and Wandale are both gone. I'm gonna go out. I'll go out on a limb and say it's gonna be somebody new, which is pretty broad, but
I got Turner. Turner's going to be our offensive player of the year
I
on the offensive line.
I was going to say, it could be an offensive lineman, but I'll pick a skill position player, and I'll say Austin Allen.
Okay. It's not a bad pick. I think a surprise guy that I've talked about, this year is going to be a Wyatt Lever. I think Wyatt Lever, we saw a little bit of him last year, and I think Wyatt is going to be one of those guys that he may not be a starter, but he's going to be a guy that comes out and produces when you need him to produce. Kind of makes me think of Cade Warner. I think Cade Warner had so much promise to his game. Heck of a good blocker downfield. He had his hands, and we saw it more than once. He dropped some balls, and that was kind of his downfall. But I see him as a Wyatt Lever being a Cade Warner with blocking, but also being able to go up and catch the ball.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to make those tough catches.
He's a pretty skinny kid, but if he can...
Got good hands, though.
Yeah. No, I pick Austin Allen, and Zom, I like your questions and your comments, and they're funny. But, no, just because... And it's not even that he is going to catch, 100 balls. It's just getting third down catches, maybe going up and getting a touchdown catch in the corner of the end zone or whatever, getting blocks when you need them, as an MVP style.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he won't be just because somebody else has all these numbers and they, are deemed the most valuable player. But I think he's going to have a big year. I'm excited about it.
Going off Austin, I'm hoping to see a 2 tight end set a lot this year.
Yeah.
Throwing 2 tight ends out on the field really changes the defensive mindset on what's going to happen next. There's a lot of things that you can do. I think, again, I'm going off this right now, Nick, a 2 tight end set. We have tight ends that can play. We have tight ends that can make plays. We've seen it. One of them's got a hell of a good mullet, Vokalek, but these guys can make plays, and we've seen it happen. We just don't see it enough. And I go back to one of the first plays we did last year. One of the very first plays, I think it might have been the first play of the season, was
I think it was.
It was a tight end seam to Allen.
It was.
And we never...
Because you texted me and you were like, yes, we've talked about this, and it was the first play of the year.
I was so excited, and I think hopefully we've seen that and be like, damn, we could do this more often. Because that's not something you see a tight end running a seam, but when you have a tight end that's 6'4", 6'5", whatever, 6'7", however tall Allen is, he's huge, 6'11".
And he's a Nebraska kid, too.
He's huge. Get him the damn ball on Vokalek, too. Like, those guys can run a seam, or you got one guy running a seam, another guy running out. And then you got your other wide receiver. Like, again, I'm so excited about our offense because the guys are there.
Not the problem. The thing is if we have a successful year, a tight end's not going to win most valuable player, at least on the offense. It'll be Martinez or whatever. But yeah, I had to make that pick because it felt good.
Yeah, no, and it does. I think there's a lot of hype around Allen too. We saw him make some incredible catches last year, and it is the greatest position according to Zom. So again, I got no argument. I'm not a football player, so
I was on that offensive line with you freshman year, Zom. So.
So I'm excited. I think this year is going to be fun. Again, we have a hard schedule, yes. And I can't remember who, someone mentioned that we have one of the toughest schedules again. I bitch about this every year because I think it's stupid that, again, yes, Ohio State, I don't care whether we play them, but we play them every year.
Right. And
every year. No one else in the Big Ten West plays them every year the last 7 years like Nebraska has.
You have to, to win a championship, you have to play the best teams. So I get it. But it does seem like, when Alabama or Clemson or whatever, they're playing the Citadel, and I know we're playing Fordham. I get it. But when we have to play Ohio State every single year as a crossover game, and people be like, well, we're Penn State, and we have to play them every year because they're in our division. Yeah, but who are you playing in your crossover games? Like, our crossover games are Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State.
Yeah.
Who else has that?
Yeah.
People have Maryland, Rutgers, and Michigan State, or Maryland, Rutgers, and
It's not the same. Yeah. So again, it is what it is. But here's what we got for our.
You gotta play the best and beat the best to be the best. But it makes it a hell of a lot harder when you have a tough division schedule already, and then you play these crossover games against the hardest teams. But whatever.
So here's what we got. So we're just gonna say win-loss when we get to the team. So we're gonna run through the schedule here. So first game of the year, Illinois.
Win.
So that's next Saturday, noon game in Champaign, Illinois. According to Twitterverse, we got a lot of people going out there, so that's exciting. Should be a lot of red in that stadium, just like it would be if we're going to Colorado or Notre Dame or these other stadiums where we've seen a lot of red. So excited about that.
I think Nebraska's 7-point favorite.
Yeah, and I'd push it to maybe 10. I think the 7's probably because of our history over the last few years of close games and giving up a lot of points. So I would give us maybe 10 to 14 or 10 to 13 is what I'm predicting there.
I hope we win by 21 or more.
I do too. Fordham, win.
Obviously a win.
Yes. So we're 2-0. 2-0 going into Buffalo. Buffalo, I think, is going to be a win.
A win.
So I think we're going to be 3-0 going into Oklahoma. Oklahoma is one of those teams where, again, if you're someone in the Big 12 or an Oklahoma fan, Oklahoma had the best defense in the country last year. Doubtful. Now, was their defense better than normal, than what we've seen over the years? Yes. Rattler had a better second half of the season than he did the first half of the season.
And he'll probably be much better.
And we know Oklahoma's going to be good. I think it's going to be a closer game than most people predict. It's not going to be a 30, 40-point loss like we've seen to Ohio State over the years.
I certainly hope
I think it's going to be a closer game, but I'm still going to predict an L against Oklahoma.
I'm going to predict an L. It's on the road, and they're ranked number 2 preseason. I mean, it just isn't stacking up. Well, I hope that we fight like hell in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And if we lose, if it ends up being a 20-point loss because they score a touchdown late or something, as long as we compete in the game, I will feel much better than getting, the 63-7 loss like we've done.
Which is so hard to say as like a fan of your team.
It is.
You don't want to say if we compete, like but we haven't.
No, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean.
But it sucks because we haven't been competing, so you can't expect to beat Oklahoma if you're winning 4-5 games a year. Like it's
and when you play a good opponent, like in Ohio State, even at home, and you lose by 50 points. Yeah.
The year after you only lose by 5 on the road, right?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Right.
Anyways, all right. Then we got Michigan State State on the road.
I'm gonna say we're gonna win that game, and it might be close. We might win by 5 to 10 points in that game, 3 to 7, whatever you want to say.
What did Michigan State do last year? I can't remember what their schedule was or what their record was. Well, Michigan State, they're going to be in year 2 with what's his bucket from Colorado.
The thing I will say is, and I can only go off of history because that's how the world works, but we have success against Michigan State.
We do.
We beat Kirk Cousins when they won the Big Ten. They won the Big Ten, and we beat them, and we beat them easily that year.
And we beat them 9-6 in the snow.
And we played up, yes,
which is fun.
We beat them on the road when I think Jamal Turner caught a touchdown in the last 10 seconds of the game to win. Whatever it is, it's like a Northwestern. The game's always going to be close no matter what. I feel a win there, even with kind of a team that is kind of a question mark.
I got a win there. I think we're going to beat Michigan State again. I've never viewed Michigan State as a huge opponent that is really good. I think they always have a good team, but in recent years, they haven't been really good. They've had decent teams, but they haven't been a team you got to watch out for. Like, holy crap, they're going to run the Big Ten. No, like they're just not. Ohio State's that team, and forever will be that team for a few years until we see different. So I think Michigan State's going to be a W. So right now we're 4-1 going to Northwestern. Man, Northwestern is a game that
Kryptonite. We need to win that game.
we gotta win that game. We have to win that game.
And it's at home this year, and for whatever reason, we always seem to lose at home against them, except for Hail Mary.
We just choke. We choke against Northwestern. Now, they have some injuries, and they have a lot of guys that left the team.
But they have a couple of offensive linemen out for the season.
Yeah, I think they just maybe lost a running back, if I remember
They lost a
correctly.
running back.
Injured.
And
They lost Bowser. Bowser transferred, or he's done. I think Northwestern's a win. I think they lost so many guys. They're still going to be fundamentally sound.
right, we're gonna have to be.
But I hope we are.
We're gonna have to show up focused on that game because you know that they're not gonna get penalties.
Yep.
They're gonna run the ball. They're gonna play solid defense. It'll be a tight game.
Yeah, so I got that as a W for us as well. I think we're gonna beat Northwestern. If we lose Northwestern, I'm gonna be so mad because, again, that's just a team that we shouldn't be losing to. I'm not saying they're not good, but it's a team that we should be better than. All right, Michigan at home. They had 5 losses last year?
I'm not entirely sure.
They had 4 or 5 losses last year. Their quarterback, I think Dylan McCaffrey transferring from Michigan, or actually he took a pretty bad concussion and it took him out for, I think he wanted to make sure he was healthy to come back. I think part of it was COVID last year, but then he hit the transfer portal. Now he's going to play at Northern Colorado with his dad. Dylan McCaffrey, I think, was a better quarterback than whoever Michigan has right now at quarterback, but I don't think he was going to win the position according to Harbaugh, which what I saw last year with their quarterback, not impressed. And I'm still not impressed. I think Michigan has a long ways to go still. It's so hard. I think we're going to win that game.
That's a tough one.
I think we're going to win. I think we're going to beat Michigan there.
If we win that Michigan game, I would say we turned a corner to beat teams that we should beat. You know, and a team like Michigan, it's a good team.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good program. But when they have a new quarterback or, they're in a turnaround, we should beat them this year.
I want Harbaugh to be fired and be on the hot seat and be flaming way before Scott Frost. But they just gave him an extension, which is unbelievable, but it is what it is. Minnesota.
On the road. And I think they have a bye week before we play them.
They do. I believe
so. That's a tricky one. I hate PJ Fleck, and I know you hate him. I really see that as a winnable game, but it just depends, because they were good a couple years ago. Last year they weren't so good.
Yep.
They beat us with second and third stringers, so I can't even say we're going to win that game, but we should.
We should. I'm going to go ahead and predict that we win that game. I'm saying a lot of wins.
I'm not upset about it.
I shouldn't be saying W. Again, my prediction was like 7-5, 8-4 tops, and I'm already saying
like 8-1.
It's so hard to predict a loss. But okay, I'm gonna throw a Minnesota loss.
No, we're at 7-1 right now. We're fine.
Okay, so Purdue's a win.
Purdue should be a win.
I think Braum, they extended him.
We have a bye week before that.
Yeah,
too.
I think Braum's gonna be out the door here pretty soon.
Bell's really good, but you never know if what his stats.
But he's really your only target. And Ohio State again, I think
at home.
I think we're gonna play him close. We're gonna play him better. They have a freshman quarterback.
That's true.
Or it might be sophomore.
He's a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, so
quarterback.
I think, Nick, I told you I drank a lot of Kool-Aid. But okay, so Ohio State's gonna be a loss, but I think it's gonna be a closer game. I think we're gonna keep it within 2 scores.
Okay.
Wisconsin. Now, here's what I hate to say is I think we're gonna lose to Wisconsin.
And we have a bye week before that too.
Yep.
But it's on the road too.
We just can't beat Wisconsin.
We can't beat Wisconsin.
We can't. It's like Northwestern. We can't beat Northwestern. We can't beat Wisconsin.
We beat Wisconsin once, and then that same year we played in the Big Ten championship. And they scored 70 points on us.
Yeah. So I do think that we lose to Wisconsin. I'm not buying into the Graham Mertz hype. I don't think I think last year he played against Illinois and everyone was freaking out about how good he was. Well, yeah, he was throwing to wide open receivers. So, again, he had a good year, but I'm not buying into his hype yet. We'll see how he plays next year, but I think, is it a winnable game? Absolutely. Are we going to win? Again, we just don't beat Wisconsin, and it's on the road.
Yeah.
So, and we haven't been good on the road for years. Iowa, we're gonna beat Iowa. We're gonna
effing beat them.
We're gonna beat Iowa. Jason, I hope you're listening. Coming after
you that we're gonna frickin' figure it out this year.
I don't even
We
care.
haven't been good, and we've been close to beating them.
I don't even care if we win on a game-winning field goal. I don't care. I just want to shut them up. I want to shut them. Okay, it's social media. I want to shut social media. Shut them up because there's a couple good Iowa fans out there that I will talk with on social media. But for the most part,
yeah, I have friends.
they just
They're
talk
Iowa
crap.
fans.
They talk
And-
crap. But
and
we're gonna
they-
beat Iowa.
The friends I have don't talk too much smack, but
Yeah.
it's funny because they never said that they were fans until they beat us twice in a row, and then they're fans all of a sudden. And it's like, come on, man. There you go.
So here's my thing. I
You're
think,
seriously listening, Josh? Well
Yeah.
played, bro.
yeah, so here's my.
Cheers to that.
So I technically, and you were with me here, but technically 9-3 is what we predicted. Now, toss-up games. Toss-up games. I'm gonna throw Minnesota in there, and I'm gonna throw Iowa in there. Those are two potential toss-up games.
Oh, you had Wisconsin,
Wisconsin, Ohio State, Oklahoma.
and Oklahoma.
So toss-up
I'd say-
games, I think, are Minnesota and Iowa. Those are two toss-up games. All the other games, there's no reason if they are as good as they look on paper. I think we gotta see yes. Coach of the Year, yes, I do. Okay. Hey, Zom, we appreciate it. What's up, Josh?
Hey, Josh.
So
Help
yeah,
you guys up to
but I do think it's every year.
looking
though.
into the season, it's like, yeah, we'll probably be this. But then when we're breaking it down, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, we should win this game.
should.
They're like, oh yeah, we could probably win this game.
Again, and when we had BK when I'm on the show, I said 8-4, and you guys gave me shit. You're like, there's always that 8-4 guy, and that's me every year the last 5 years. But
I mean,
it's
Bo
one of those-
Pelini won 9 games every year.
Yeah, and it's not one of those things that completely in a different conference for the most part. It's not out of the realm that we win 8 games. It is those toss-up games. Again, 9-3 is really not out of the picture.
Well,
But it is. It's
And-
the toss-up games. It's how are we
If-
going to play against Wisconsin? How are we going to play against Minnesota? How are we going to play against Iowa? Those three teams.
And if you look at, I mean, history repeats itself. If you look at the way we've done the close games under Scott Frost, have not gone in our favor. We've lost a lot of close 3, 5, 7, even 10-point games against teams that we either should have beaten or, very well could have beaten without, a turnover or,
And Zom,
a mistake, a penalty or something.
Zom, I think you'll agree with 2 different things here. One, we shoot ourselves in the foot over and over and over and over again.
100%.
Between penalties and turnovers, we kill ourselves. 2, we get to the red zone, we don't know how to score.
Yeah.
We do not know how to score inside even the 30-yard line. We don't know how to produce touchdowns inside the 30.
No.
And if we don't get a touchdown, we haven't been able to kick a field goal. And
Until last year.
we saw some of that. So I think turnovers are going to help.
She does.
Turnovers are
A
going to
lot of
help.
thoughts.
Penalties are going to help. We clean up our game on the offensive side of the ball. We clean it up to where we are not perfect, but we are more sound. We are better to where we're not thinking, oh shit, we just ran the ball. Oh, there's a flag. Every time that happens, it seems like. So we clean that part of the game up. We decrease the turnovers on offense. Martinez holds on to the ball better. Our running backs hold on to the ball. Our receivers catch the ball. We gotta rely on our tall guys in the red zone to catch those balls in the corner, and we gotta rely on the running backs inside the 5-yard line, inside the 8-yard line to pound the rock, get it. I don't care, run it 3 times, get it in the end zone. And if we don't, we put up 3, but we have to get points every time we're in the red zone.
I think the turnovers. Oh, really? I think the turnovers that we've had in the past, I think that number drops. And it has to.
Yeah.
It
has to.
It has to. If we're going to be successful at all, it has to. And I think it will. But also just, like you said, just options of plays inside the 30 of being able to, throw to the end zone instead of trying to do an 80-yard run or a handoff that goes nowhere or a swing pass that goes for a tackle for a loss. Like having an option to throw to the end zone for a touchdown or something.
If the game plan changes to where we use the guys on the offense, the size, if we use our size on the offensive side of the ball that we have, we will win more games. Now, again, 9-3, 8-4, yes, it's a stretch. But
it is.
There are 3 toss-up games in there. I said 2, but there's 3. Wisconsin's a toss-up. I think Minnesota's a toss-up. Iowa's a toss-up. Those are 3 games that can flip.
And those are 3 teams, between us and those 3 schools, those are the 4 best teams in our division. We need to be able to beat those schools.
Now, if we lose to Illinois, Frost is gone. Because if we lose to Illinois, the rest of the season is not going to go well. And I'm just not confident. If we lose to Illinois, they're predicted to win 3 games all year. Everybody's predicting 3-9. They're not going to be a great team. Now, yes, they have a lot of seniors, but if we lose to Illinois, we might cancel the show. I just say, all right, I'm done. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen, but again, we have to go out there and show that we made improvements. If we can't show that we made improvements, we'll see, but we can lose every other game this year. Want to beat Iowa and Minnesota so bad. Absolutely, dude, those are the 2 games that
those 2. I want to beat Wisconsin as well, but if we can beat Iowa and Minnesota, I don't give a shit.
If we go 6-6 and beat Minnesota and Iowa, I will be so happy.
Yep.
So happy.
Yeah.
But if we go 6-6, I'll also be so sad. Because I think I just, again, the optimism, yes, hits me every year, but I just think the talent, the guys that you see on the team is so much better. And we love Martinez, man. We just can't help it. I love the kid as a person, and I think he has
when you saw what happened last year when he got benched, and then whoever does those videos for their
here's my MVP, Zom. It's our social media and our marketing team. They do a damn good job of making me drink the Kool-Aid.
Whoever does that Husker page where they do those minute videos, they're amazing.
They're phenomenal.
But Martinez got benched, and he talked to the team and was like, I don't care if it's me or him. It's about us. And I gained so much respect for him. And then he came back and was so much better than he was before after McCaffrey got benched. So, yes, I do.
The Kool-Aid tastes so good. Red Kool-Aid is the best Kool-Aid. If you don't agree with that, you're not drinking the right kind of Kool-Aid, which is only one kind of Kool-Aid. It's really good. Although grape is really good too, but we're not Northwestern fans, so
that's for sure.
We don't drink that Kool-Aid. No, I
Kool-Aid was made in Nebraska anyway.
It was. I'm excited. I think we're gonna have some success.
I honestly haven't been as excited as I normally am until now. We did a show. Now I'm actually excited.
I'm going to be honest with everybody here that's watching the show. I thought about telling Jimmy, hey, we're not going to do 2 average guys anymore. And the reason why is because I was in the off season. I didn't I didn't care. I'm like this. I just don't care about Husker football. My energy was drained. Didn't care.
I had a hard time.
And I don't even know why. It's just one of those things where after the amount of losing seasons we've had, it's been so hard to get excited about Husker football. And then it just kind of kicked around. I don't know what it was, but I'm like, all right, football's next week. Maybe it's just upcoming seasons coming up real soon. Now I'm really excited. I'm hyped.
Yeah, if we have another couple seasons the way that it's been, it will be really hard to try to do it again. But
it's hard to talk after a loss all the time. I don't want to talk after losing 7 games.
And I don't want to talk about the game for a little bit and then just talk about
why we sucked.
other games that should be us.
Yeah.
So
for those of you that tune in, again, we appreciate it. This has been, we've been going on, how many years now? We started in 2015. So 8th season now. So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So this is our 7th season. that we're doing the show. So
if you haven't really tuned in, we've met a lot of Huskers. We've had them on.
Yep.
We've had done interviews with them.
and we're looking to get a few more guys on. It's just
Des Moines Adams, Brandon Kinney,
yeah. So we're gonna get some more guys on.
Tom Osborne.
Yeah, we had Tom Osborne. Again, we got some more stuff hopefully coming this year. Gonna start looking for partnerships. If you guys know anybody, especially local breweries, if you know anybody included in local breweries, we'd love to sport T-shirts and beer.
Matt Verzal, we did a Paisans interview.
Pizza,
That was
so
super fun.
we'd love to promote, and we don't care about making money off it. Just give us a shirt and a beer, and we'll be good to go, or pizza. But if you know people,
just
let us
fun.
know. But we enjoy you guys tuning in. This has been fun. I don't got anything else for today. Anybody, if you got questions, go and get them in last second.
You want to come join us sometime? Let us know.
Yeah, we'll provide the beer and potentially pizza. We'll see. But appreciate you guys tuning in. For everybody that is, we had a couple new listeners, I think, today.
I really appreciate the listeners today because I thought 1 o'clock on a Sunday. Normally we do evening, and that's when it's at its max. So thank you.
We appreciate you guys. That's all we got for today. Any other questions, feel free to get them in after the show. We'll respond. And
We'll
again,
be back next
get
Sunday
out there
after
on
the game.
on our YouTube channel, on our podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're out there, so you can find us anywhere. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it, Zom. Thanks for all the interaction. Nap girls. Yeah, nap time. That's a good time, Zom. I think I got one boy napping, so we'll
Come
see.
join us,
All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Go Huskers.
We'll see you next week.
We are Two Average Guys. I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy, and we'll see you next week.
Enjoy your Sunday. Go Big Red.